biggest takeaways from the New Orleans Saints loss to the Miami Dolphins. All right, Nick Underhill, Mike Triplett, face of the franchise. The three amigos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it.
What's your takeaway from this game? Like broad stroke.
In the end, they gave us some things to be really interested in, which blew me away because at halftime I thought it was their darkest moment. I thought it was, all right, that's it. They couldn't muster enough energy to get through this whole season. The writing's on the wall. It finally all got taken out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I look, listen, I give every game all 4 quarters, but I was streaming this one, and at halftime, I was thinking the same thing, Michael. I was thinking, this is somehow worse than I thought it could be. Like after the Atlanta situation, and after that to then go to Miami, and you have 0 points. I believe it was 3 third and outs, or 3 and outs out of your first 4 possessions. You had like 30 yards of offense, 1 first down. I mean, it was bleak. 100% it was bleak. And then the second half happens. And then it's like, what the hell is this? There's 2 completely different teams. 2 completely different situations. And now you got to kind of put them together in this weird amalgamation to try and recap what you saw.
And their spirits kind of squashed. And then they came back in the second half and they damn near won this thing, which was pretty amazing. And it made us think great things about Devon Vele and Charlie Smith and, the run game, rediscovering the run game and giving Tyler Shough some opportunities. And so that was all exciting, only to sort of Lucy Charlie Brown the ball again when they got to 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, and 4th and 1. And I can't believe that has been the story of the whole season, not being able to generate any offense in the first 15 play script. So they're always down in every first quarter. And then every time they need a yard, whether it's at the goal line or anywhere on the field, this is an offense that doesn't know how to gain a yard to save its life. And so
it is. And again, it's like so interesting because it's easier for this offense to get 6 yards than it is for it to get 1 yard, which is kind of crazy. If it needs to get 1 yard and the defense knows it, this offense is in some real trouble and they don't know what to do. And I think a lot of it's the offensive line with how bad they are, to where if the defense is leaning on them to stop a 4th and inches, 3rd and 1, whatever, they just get no push. They just get nothing up front. And that kind of translates to the first quarter as well, when you're trying to run the football to establish tempo and rhythm, and you just can't. And then later in the game, as the game kind of opens itself up, then all of a sudden you can get some stuff going on the ground, and that unlocks your offense, whatever. But it is the same problem over and over again. And it's crazy too, because it's like so many different ways, right? Tyler Shough, quarterback sneak, Taysom Hill, quarterback power, tush push, regular run. Like, it really doesn't matter. If it's a short yardage play, the Saints just don't have it. It's almost like, look, you're better off just running a play on 4th and 1 to try and run something specific to get the 1 yard.
It's really frustrating that they teased us with a really enticing comeback, only to be a little fooled you in the end.
The hilarious thing about the not being able to get a yard, that 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, is that like when they took the shot down the field, it actually worked. Like
exactly.
When they weren't gunning for a yard, they had a play that worked. Chris Olave just didn't catch it. Like, great throw. When they were gunning for the 1 yard on 3rd and 4th down, they couldn't get it. Like, it's.
Well, 3rd, I'm not even sure what the hell the play was on the 3rd, because Shough kind of bails early, rolls out, throws it away. So I don't know if that was a 1 yard play, if that was like, I was watching Washington on Sunday night, and Marcus Mariota, they did like anytime it was 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, whatever, they did like a read option with Mariota, and he could either hand it off or just take it himself. And it's even like something like that with Shough, where I wonder if a play that's just read option, you either make the right read and you probably get it, or you make the wrong read and you don't. Like something like that. Would that be better for us to do on these short yardage, or spread them out? Like, sometimes I've always said it's easier to, in the red zone or on the goal line, it's easier to run when you spread out, and it's easier to throw when you bunch everything in. So it's almost like, I wonder if they would just okay, it's 4th and 1, go 5 wide, empty back, everyone runs mesh. Shough finds the receiver who's got some space, and then boom, you make a 2-yard throw. Like that would almost be better than what the Saints are doing right now.
The wildest thing.
They don't know how to call actual 1-yard plays. They can call other plays.
No, they don't know how to execute them. They can call them, but they don't know how to execute them. The Saints, think about how different this season would be if the Saints were good at the easiest part of the game. Starting games, right? Your scripted plays, your first quarter, whatever. Your first quarter, making field goals and getting a yard. If you flip those 3 things, the Saints might be a 10-win team. Like if they could just do those things right there, make your field goals, convert on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and inches, whatever, and start like a normal team.
Crazy.
This fella, and this fella, he can't coach early in the games. Like it's wild. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. It's really confusing. And yeah, like it ended up, the thing I said is it wasn't like good, but it was compelling. Like it was ended up being a compelling game of football for a rebuilding football team. But
so Nick just said he can't coach early in games. I did a video, went out Tuesday morning, that went back and looked at Kellen Moore's early tenure in Philadelphia. And wouldn't you know it, they weren't scoring early in games either. And there was a lot of, it was 1971 was the last time they had a first quarter touchdown drought like the team last year for Philly. And it's interesting because it's like, that did happen. They did have the worst drought in 50 years scoring in the first quarter. Kellen went almost a year combined with the Chargers and the Eagles to scoring a first quarter touchdown. Yet, in the same season, with the same roster and the same team, he got it turned around so much that they were one of the best offenses in the NFL, won the Super Bowl. And it's kind of wild. It's kind of like, how do you even solve that math problem? How do you even solve the math problem of the worst first quarter offense for Philadelphia in 50 years? A month later, best offense in Eagles history, best offense in the NFL, Super Bowl champions. I mean, is that not just the most confounding thing of all time?
Just really bad overall, really inept in a lot of different ways. And it's not going to get better this season. I think this is a thing where you probably got to go in the offseason, tear it down, evaluate everything you did, and hope that as the architect of the person of like something that isn't working well, you're able to tear it down and rebuild something else. I don't know. I mean,
I think it can get better this season, which is kind of surprising, but I think it can. Now, not better is in the sense of Super Bowl playoff team, whatever, but better in the sense of I think they can maneuver the wide receivers to now Devon Vele is getting a tremendous target share. I think they scratched all the Taysom stuff. They're getting Shough more involved in the run game. The run game is evolving. You have to admit that, whether it's evolving good or bad, but it's evolving. It's changing. It's moving away from the Taysom package. It's moving away from all that into something else. So I can definitely see it getting better in the short term. Again, not better in the sense of like, oh my God, we're the best offense in the NFL, but it's going to look different. And for better or for worse, this is an offense that is evolving in front of our eyes dramatically on a week-to-week basis. It is evolving dramatically, or it has evolved dramatically from the Atlanta game to the Dolphins game. Think about how different the offenses are in the two games. Atlanta game, Taysom is the entire offense. He had 10-plus carries. He's getting 4th and 1. He's got the football in his hands rolling out in a bootleg. Like, totally different, right? Then you look at the Dolphins one. Evan Hull has more carries than Taysom Hill. Devin Neal is now your leading ball carrier. And Devon Vele is all of a sudden getting 9 targets. Totally different. Within 7 days. And I guarantee you next week against the Bucs, it's going to be completely different again.
I'm a little bit concerned about how some of this stuff is looking because it's hard to get to week 13, week 14 of the season and just not have those openers working. Like now, there is a lot of football left. Like maybe they figure it out somewhere along the way. it just seems to me that they are so much better when Shough can just rip it, when he can just go out and play, and when it becomes a little bit looser and you get into those 2-minute situations, and he's extending plays and getting outside of the structure of the play and making something happen on his own. Those seem to be the moments where it really looks like it works. But when it's tight, it's almost like there's a lack of confidence in being able to overcome a mistake, so they just play so freaking tight. And then they get to the second half and they're like, well, we got to catch up now. And that's when you start to see something. I don't know. I have a million different theories, but like, it's just very, very bad at the start of these games.
Well, look, here's the thing that Shough and Kellen Moore have both pointed out a lot in recent weeks is how screwed they are when they're bad on first downs. Yeah. I mean, it feels like it is 2nd and 10 every time this team snaps the ball. And then when they get the run game going, under center, sometimes stubbornly stick with it, and then it's 2nd and 4, and you're like, oh, you can play offense when it's 2nd and 4. So it's not only the first 15 play script, it's also first down plays have been horrible for this team.
I think they are kind of stuck in that, like, at the beginning of games, they're kind of treating it like, all right, let's ramp this thing up. Let's do the generic first quarter, first half thing, right? Run on first down, run on second down. Let's try and kind of ramp up. Let's try and kind of get up, feel the game, whatever. And they almost have like a malaise. They almost have a like they don't hit the ground running to start games. They're kind of like they're ramping up as the game ramps up. Like they're willing to run, kind of just generic run play 1 on first down in the first quarter. And then if they get stuffed, then it's 2nd and 10, all right, generic 2nd and 10 play. Now it's 3rd and 8, generic 3rd and 8 play. Now it's time to punt. And then in the second half, all of a sudden, it's like, all right, now we're ramped up. Like now we're ready to roll. Now we're doing this, and this. And I think they just need to throw away all of the ramp up stuff and just hit the ground running in that first quarter and say, look, we're letting it rip to start. We're going to start this thing off with three straight passes. We're going to start this thing off empty set. We're not just going to run quarterback or halfback power on 1st and 10 to start the game just because we're starting the game. We're going to open it up. We're going to throw a 25-yard pass on the first play. Like that's kind of where they got to be. They got to shake some things up in the first quarter.
It seems like they're constantly behind the chains, and even Kellen Moore said this afternoon, I don't know who he's blaming. Maybe he's blaming himself, but he's like, well, yeah, we like to go tempo, but it's hard to go tempo when it's, when you're not gaining any yards on first down and you go 3 and out. You can't go tempo when you go 3 and out. And so, I like seeing them in 2 minutes. I like seeing them when they get things going. It's crazy that it's taken this long and they still haven't figured out. They haven't gotten better at it. If anything, they've regressed.
Yeah, there seemed to be some like exasperation at that tempo question too. Yeah. Like some exasperation throughout the press conference. Like there's.
Yeah, we covered the press conference and I said the same thing. I was kind of surprised because Kellen was really showing like the stress of this whole situation.
Definitely frustration about these results, and frankly, there should be. I don't think the team's playing nearly well enough. Speaking of playing well enough, in this top.
Well, I mean, don't forget, guys. Like we watch the games, then we go and do whatever. Like we watch the games, and then we go do something else, and then we take a vacation, or we go out, or we go out to eat, or you go to work, or go to the gym, or you have your own, watch some Netflix, and then we come back and watch the game the next week. Like these guys are doing this every day. Like they do it every single day. They're practicing. They're going through the reps. They're in the building. They're watching the this is their job. So I can't even imagine the level of frustration for them because I know how frustrating it is for me. To see it every week and to see it play out. But if I was, game planning and prepping, I mean, Kellen, like any coach pours, 16 hours a day into this. Like, this is not a couple hours or 8 hours a day kind of job. Like Kellen is probably tinkering or watching film or dealing with stuff with this team 95% of his waking hours. And so to fail in the most unique ways like the Saints like to do week in and week out and to see that L column grow, hell yeah, it's frustrating.
Topic is presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant up there on Betts. Shough, what do you think? I thought some good, some bad.
Yeah, some good, some bad, but how long can we keep saying that, right? I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of our Spencer Rattler evaluations, and when it was Spencer Rattler, we kept saying he needs to exceed expectations and he needs to do something special to keep Tyler Shough from stealing the job. And now today was a game that made me look at the calendar a little bit. I was like, well, this time he did have some opportunities, not completely his fault, but he got some red zone opportunities. He got fourth quarter comeback opportunity, and he didn't. The whole offense didn't capitalize on them. He didn't capitalize on them. And now I'm looking at, all right, you still maybe have the second or third pick in the draft, and now you have 4 more weeks or 5 more weeks to do something convincing enough to make sure they don't look at Mendoza or another top quarterback in next year's.
Shough is against it because of the time, because of the age, and because of that draft pick. You know, I'm not saying that they're going to draft somebody to replace him, but he's got to give them a reason not to. And yeah, he's got whatever it is, 5 more games, so he's got plenty of time to do that. But if he has 3 turnovers a game, or if he's taking sacks and throwing the ball away, and it's just kind of whatever, then if the Saints have the first or second pick, like all of a sudden anything can happen, right? He's going to have some games, and whether it's his fault or not, but I think Matt Flynn said this, at a certain point he falls into the Spencer Rattler category where you can look at Tyler Shough and it's like, well, he's 1-7. It's 1-7 as a starter, and he's got whatever, six touchdowns and 10 turnovers. And you're just looking at it, and all of a sudden you're looking at the first pick overall or the second pick overall, and you can reset things. I mean, it just becomes a conversation. So he has to have some games where he looks good. He's got to have some games where he's got no turnovers, 2-3 touchdowns. He's really moving this thing. The little bit of good, little bit of bad isn't going to be good enough long term for Shough. And that was kind of the deal when you draft him with his age and all that stuff, where you don't get 2 years to figure it out with a situation like that. He's got to hit the ground running, and it's just a weird situation overall. And there was a chart that came out that shows like the EPA and the offense, like the PFF grade of all the quarterbacks, and Shough finally has enough snaps to where he's on the chart. And him and Rattler are almost the exact same. Rattler's EPA is a little bit higher because Rattler did run more, especially on like to pick up first downs. Rattler was way better at that, so his EPA is going to be a little bit higher. But they're almost the exact same, which we kind of knew was going to happen. Like that was why the whole Shough Rattler conversation was so pointless, is because it just never was about the quarterback. Rattler was never playing bad enough to where he was dragging the team down. He was never playing good enough, quote unquote, to elevate the team. And now Shough is in that same boat where he's not playing bad, but he's also not playing great. And he's just kind of in the middle there. And it's like, well, he's a rookie quarterback. What else do you expect? And on one hand, yeah, sure, he's a rookie quarterback. He's on his 4th game. Sure, like he's going to have some ups and downs. But the uniqueness of the situation with the draft pick, where the Saints are going to be drafting this upcoming year, his age, all that stuff, it's like he probably isn't going to be a lot of the time that most rookie quarterbacks are.
Draft. So even though I'm not necessarily down on Shough, he needs more convincing performances to stave off potential replacement pay in next year's draft. So he needs to exceed performances like this because he's working against an abbreviated clock as well.
And I'll tell you this too, like there is some, or I'm surprised at how quickly. I mean, I guess I'm not, because the same thing happened with Rattler, but I mean, we lost this game in Miami by 4, and Shough was responsible for 3 turnovers, one of which was a pick 2. Like that's pretty bad. Like that's kind of like, man, damn, like you take away those picks, or even if the pick 2 doesn't happen, or the pick before halftime doesn't happen, or you take those away, you probably win the game. Or you're at least in a position to win the game. So similar with Rattler there at the end, where Rattler had those turnovers, and some of them it's like, man, this is like kind of game breaking, like. I mean, even like last week, the play action where Shough and Kamara got too close together, and that was a fumble on the first possession, like stuff like that. It's just, on one hand, you got to give him grace because he's a rookie and you expect these things, but on the other hand, like Mike said, he's up against a lot now. Like if the Saints were drafting 11th, he'd be okay. But the fact that they are almost forced into doing their due diligence and looking at every quarterback, Shough's not competing against Rattler. Shough is competing now against Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Dante Moore.
I do think if Olave catches that ball and you have a 36-yard game winner touchdown, like we probably look at it way different. And like he did put
100%. But if Juwan Johnson comes down with Spencer Rattler's catch, look at that a lot different too. Right? Like there was a lot, and it's just this is just another part of the wrinkle of how unique this season has been, where everything we were saying with Rattler, where but if Johnson comes down with that, but if Chris Olave makes this catch, but if Juwan Johnson makes this catch, I mean, just go back to the Rattler performances. How many just drops were there between Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara? How many just fumbles from Rashid Shaheed or whatever? Like, it was just weird stuff, he kind of fell on the sword of. And now with Shough, we're seeing the exact same thing. Where it's like, but if Talise Fuaga doesn't false start, maybe the pick 2 never happens. But if Chris Olave just catches it and they win the game, I mean, but if Blake Grupe makes the field goals and they beat this team, like, it's the exact same thing. It's flipped from Rattler to Shough, but all the other variables are the exact same. The drops, the fumbles, the penalties, the offensive line, and that's kind of where this team is. This team in this season can be framed so many different ways if just a little bit was changed.
For sure.
He did put it right there between two guys.
For sure.
I'm with you though. Like I generally agree overall. Like I think there's an element of perspective too, and I think when we look up and we start seeing comments and all this stuff, I think there's going to be a group of people that are convinced and a group of people that aren't, because I think the highs were like so good in this game. That touchdown pass to Vele was incredible. The freelance play to Foster Moreau was really good. People are going to give him credit for that Chris throw, even though it didn't get completed. And then there's the first pick, which was terrible. The 2-point play, he threw that ball way behind them. I thought he left some pockets too early.
Yeah, I thought generally, like the picks are obviously bad, but I thought what he's done the last 2 games is he has held the ball way too long on some sacks. And the play is completely falling apart way too early.
The calendar's a problem. And
hell yeah.
I wish there was more time. I mean, because like he's gonna have to drastically go one direction, or hopefully not the other, to be convinced that yes or no he isn't the guy. If he plays like this every week and it kind of seems like this is what it is, there's moments where you go, holy crap! Like that touchdown pass to Vele was one of them. Like that was like a holy crap moment. He gives you those and you want to chase those. I think that's what it's going to be at the end of the season. And what's going to happen? We're going to be like, well, like there were guys missing. You didn't have the receivers. Like, what if you give them a better structure? Yeah. And that's what they're going to do. And they're going to talk themselves into it. And it might be the right decision. It might be wrong.
The one thing, and this is a WCW 1998 Nitro like storyline to the max, where it's Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson against Tyler Shough, and Tyler Shough can't find a tag team partner. And then right before the bell rings, oh my God, that's Arvell Reese's music. The other variable is if someone else is so good that the Saints can't pass them up. If Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain or Jeremiah Love or whoever, if they do so much in the next 6-7 weeks, throughout however long the playoffs and all that stuff is, where they do enough, and there's enough talk and enough whatever, and then of course you have like the combine, and you of course like like this process is nuts. But simultaneously, if Mendoza struggles against Ohio State or has a bad playoff run, or Dante Moore struggles, or whatever, Ty Simpson, like how that all plays out, if they just get dominated by Georgia in the conference championship game, and whatever, there might be someone else that pops up to where it's like, Shough probably ain't it long term, but I'm willing to let him ride for another year because I can't miss on Arvell Reese. I can't miss on whoever, name your player, doesn't matter. That's also a variable, because if that wasn't there and this was a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, like that kind of a draft, it wouldn't even be a question. It would be, whatever. You take your guy, take your Drake May, take your Jaden Daniels, take your Caleb Williams. But if this is one of those drafts where it's like, well, damn, the best players in the draft are probably some combination of Reese, Downs, Love, Vane. It's like 7 or 8 players until you even get to the quarterbacks. So that also could play in Shough's favor, as if the quarterbacks kind of take a step back and maybe one of these other guys takes a huge step forward.
That's the problem right now. It's a race. That race against time is crazy. I like, if he cleans up some of the stuff, like there's a very compelling player there still. Yeah. Like, to me, I
agree. I completely agree.
But I also think there's a equal like uncompelling, and
yeah,
it's a matter of which way you look at it. I think I still trend more positive right now, but it's just because it's early. And
the thing I'm not a fan of with Shough so far is his complete lack of a run game. Like, we were all told, like, yeah, he runs the RPOs, he runs a 4.6. Like, he really doesn't do that at all. Like, every once in a while he'll escape and he can move a little bit, but we haven't seen him move. I mean, Spencer Rattler was a way more dangerous runner, whether it was escaping the pocket or whatever. But Shough hasn't done that at all. He's very one-dimensional. And, maybe, like, if that part can get unlocked, then maybe some more of the offense gets unlocked. Like, like maybe if you're doing that now, the read option becomes a thing. Maybe that helps the running game. Maybe all of a sudden now that's your answer on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Maybe. But that needs to become part of his game quick.
His highs are still, like, it's what we said. Like, his highs are so high, and the low. I want to see. I just want to see it, like, just let him loose a little bit earlier in the game and see what happens. And there might be a chance he throws 4 picks a game, or it might be that he throws 4 touchdowns. But let it go a little bit earlier and see which way it goes.
You know what I predict would happen is 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Like, I mean, I think that's kind of
that can't be it. Like, that washout can't be it. Throwing 2 touchdowns and 2 picks and losing 21-17 every week. That's not going to be the answer.
Player he is.
Yeah.
If he let it loose, I think, or maybe it'd be 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. I mean, if they let it loose all game long,
or it could be 4 and 4. Like,
it'd be more fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it just feels so tight early in the games. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what it like. There's got to be a way to accentuate things a little bit more. Look, I was going through the coaches' film right before we did this on some of them. Like, there's a lot of plays where guys aren't open. I think.
Well, that's the question I had watching the game live. I got to go back and watch the All-22 and all that stuff. But, some of these sacks where we're like, man, Shough's holding on to the ball. He's holding on to the ball. It's like, is it a coverage sack? Is he going through his reads and then panicking? Or, because it kind of looks like he's doing like boom, 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 boom. And like then all of a sudden he's like, all right, I got to go. And it's like, damn, did he just do 4 progressions and no one's open? Because if that's the case, whole different story, right? Is it, a sack is, there's a lot that goes into a sack. Like, it can be the offensive line, it can be the quarterback. A lot of the times can walk their way or move their way into a sack. The quarterback can hold on to the ball too long, or it can be a good old-fashioned coverage sack. Or nothing can go wrong, and the edge player just makes an insane move, and he just gets a sack. Like, there's a lot there. So some of them, I think Shough's holding on to the ball too long, but they also could be coverage sacks. I don't know.
I just kind of hate that he's playing with a little bit more of a weakened team. Like, maybe some things open up. On the other hand, like, now he's got Devon Bailey going in a way that seems freaking unbelievable. Like, that guy just seems to fit with him so much better. Olave's still there, so maybe some of the weaponry is there, and he's not finding guys enough. I don't know. It's gonna. I just feel like it's gonna be a huge conundrum. By the end of the year, like I don't think we're gonna know for sure. And
that would be fine. I'd like to give him another year right now. I want to see another year of him. I wanted to see another year of Spencer Rattler at this time last year, and we're hoping they'd move on from Derek Carr because we need more than this isn't going to be enough time.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's in a position where I think he needs a couple more wins. He's the only one watching. Why am I forgetting the name of the website with the Draftathon?
Tankathon.
Right? Tankathon. He's the only one watching Tankathon and hoping they move toward 4 and 5. To buy himself another year. When you have the first or second pick in the draft, you can't ignore that. You can't ignore that if you're a franchise. You might think
100%. If I was the coach of the Saints, or if I was the GM of the Saints, as of right now, I'd be totally fine going with Tyler Shough next year. But if I have the first overall pick or the second overall pick, I have to do my due diligence to look at these quarterbacks. And there is absolutely a chance I'm looking at Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or Ty Simpson, and I'm like, damn, well, hold on a second. Like, this guy might be a franchise quarterback. Like, can I pass on this? Especially if, like I mentioned earlier, if Arvell Reese or whoever doesn't impress me to the point where I'm taking them first or second overall, and yeah, of course you can always trade down, whatever, but, and you know how it is, like the grass is always greener on the other side. So if you're looking at a bunch of quarterbacks and you're at their pro days and you're doing their interviews and you're watching the tape and, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, maybe this is the direction I go in. Maybe I get me a franchise quarterback, so it's just a lot is at play. And, the Saints, and just a twist of fate, we play the Jets and the Titans, and, so who the hell knows? Like, we could be the first overall pick, we could be the fourth overall pick. I don't know. There's a lot of college football to be played, so it is going to be a really interesting offseason, I think, for the Saints. And it's almost, a lot of these games are evaluation. Well, all of them are now evaluation. The Saints are, they're not, the win-loss doesn't matter at all. But once that season ends, I mean, it's going to be a crazy draft time. Especially if the Saints have the first overall pick. If the Saints are on the clock the second that the Super Bowl ends, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, New Orleans Saints, you're on the clock. It's like, oh my God. I mean, it's a wild world to be in.
This is our one shot. So he needs to play well to convince them on him, but he also needs the wins so that they don't. So door number 2 doesn't look as attractive, and that's unfair to him probably. But that's the reality that they're dealing with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this weekend too. Like, just the global view of the football landscape. You got Indiana going against Ohio State, kind of Mendoza's kind of the number one guy in it. Ty Simpson's kind of fading a little bit. He's had a couple of rough games, but he's got the SEC title game. Like, he could get.
Well, Simpson also is 6'2". Like, he's got that, unless he grows between now and the combine. But you're going to hear a bunch of like, yeah, he's good, but can you really draft a 6'2", 210 quarterback first overall in the NFL in 2025? Probably not. If Mendoza lights up Ohio State, and Mendoza, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have a lot of college football to be played. If Mendoza lights up Ohio State and then he goes on a dream run and wins the national championship, can you turn that down if you're the Saints? Probably not, right? Like, you probably can't. The Titans can. If they have the first overall pick and the Saints have the second overall pick, they just took Cam Ward. But the Saints probably can't turn that down. On the flip side, if Mendoza gets blanked by Ohio State and then goes one and done in the playoffs, he's probably not even in the conversation anymore for first overall. He's probably not even in the conversation. So like, we could be talking about Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, and Fernando Mendoza, but the fact of the matter is, in 3 weeks, all of them could be outside of the top 10. And then what are you doing? You're looking at, okay, well, now it's like, you're taking a bunch of either defensive linemen or linebackers or safeties, or you're all over the place at first overall, right? So it's just it is about as murky as a first overall pick has been in a long time. when there's not a standout quarterback and when all these quarterbacks are still undecided this late into the season.
His stock back on track. Last 3 games for him, I thought were a little rough. It was rough against Auburn. Did well with his legs, fought battled, but didn't throw the ball well. Mendoza against Ohio State, though, was like a real test because like he hasn't had it.
Yeah.
He went to Oregon, didn't play great there, but found a way to win. His signature win is a comeback against Penn State. Penn State's terrible.
Yeah.
Going against that Ohio State defense, like it could be a coronation or a catastrophe. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that comes together.
At stake is the Big Ten championship and who the Saints draft. if Reese and Downs dominate Mendoza, Reese and Downs move themselves up, and
it's a $30 million game. Like, I mean, honestly, like because Mendoza can be the first overall pick with that game, or he could be out of the top 10. And like Mike just said, Reese and Downs can all of a sudden be, I mean, Arbel Reese could be like, yep, I'm the first overall pick. And you can make yourself a whole lot of money in that game. Or you can lose yourself a whole lot of money in that game if you're any of those guys.
What is that, 3 top 5 draft picks probably in that game?
Yeah. And that's not even counting what like Jeremiah Smith is doing for his draft stock next year, right? Like there's other players in that game where they're trying to boost their stock for next year. They're trying to climb, whether it's up or down for the future.
Great. Yeah, I mean, and then Carnell Tate's in that game too. He could be a top 10 receiver. Like that's another guy in there. It's fascinating. So huge weekend for football games. Any other parting thoughts on the game before we hit the break and go to the player of the game? Yeah, I mean,
we evaluate Shough all the time. I mean, I think this was another. We said it kind of from the beginning, but this was a thumbs down game for Kellen Moore. I think he gets the longer rope and the longer timetable because he's not facing that same draft reality. So we're going to see Kellen Moore coaching this team next year, but I'd like to see him figure out a way to finish this season strong too, because we talk about quarterbacks so often because there's a ticking clock against the quarterbacks, but he needs to figure out that first 15 play script, and he needs to figure out those first downs, and he needs to figure out those short yardage situations for sure.
Yeah, that's probably more important than even the quarterback thing because.
Oh yeah, I mean 100%. Because it's at a certain point, it's like the quarterback can only do so much. Like I mean we've seen it now the last couple of weeks where they can do whatever they want, but you get to 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, whatever. All they're doing is either a sneak or what. Like it's all kind of simplified at that point to where. But I really think we're seeing this like insane exploration and experimentation from Kellen to where I think early in the season he thought it was going to be a Taysom Hill thing. Taysom was hurt, and then Taysom comes back. Then it's not a Taysom Hill thing. Then it's okay. Well, then if it's not a Taysom Hill thing, what do we do now? Like, now is it a Tyler Shough sneak thing? Is it a run the ball with Devin Neal thing? Like, I think it's just he's just playing his cards. He's just kind of trying this out. If it doesn't work, try that out. If it doesn't work, try this out. If that doesn't work, then try this out. And if that doesn't work, move on to this. Like, is it an Alvin Kamara thing? I don't know. He's hurt now. Okay, well, is it a Kendra Miller thing? Oop, he's hurt now. Oh, is it a Taysom Hill thing? Nah, that didn't work. Okay, well, let's move on. He's just, every week we're seeing something different until something works, something sticks. I wouldn't be surprised at all if all of a sudden now our 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, whatever, is Tyler Shough doing like a read option, which we haven't seen whatsoever. Right? I could see that being the next iteration of the short yardage.
They aren't going to make a quick move there. They aren't.
But what do you do then if it works? Like, let's say we start running Tyler Shough read options, and that all of a sudden becomes a big part of this offense. Then it's like, all right, well, it's 13 weeks into the season, and the engine of our offense is something we have not done at all the rest of the season. Like, that is honestly up. That is in play. That just like Devon Vele unlocking the passing game a little bit there, like Devon Vele the ball wasn't even going in his direction. Then he wasn't on the field. Then, or vice versa, he wasn't on the field. Then the ball wasn't going his direction. Then he was getting targets, but then like even that evolved. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if something else evolved. And then there was another evolution, then another one, and then it just kept moving and moving. And at the end of the year, all of a sudden, The offense is not anything like it was at week 9 or week 10 or whatever.
Kind of like look, I mean, like when you miss on the last regime and then this is the next shot, like it's not a Saints thing. It's not anything like anybody's going to try to make this work because I think you're kind of tied to it. Like, I think everybody in that building is tied to this one now.
Yeah.
And
This is like this, like, what do they say? Like burn the boats or whatever. This is the boat. This is the only boat. So it's like, look, we got to make this boat work. We got to make whatever work here. So Kellen is going to get his 3 years, 100%. He's going to get 3 years to make this work. And he's going to try his damnedest. And they're going to throw everything at this to try and build something to go in the positive direction. Luckily for Saints fans, we just seemingly nailed a draft class. And we've got a whole lot of draft resources coming at us this year. Salary cap and all that stuff's getting cleaned up, so maybe free agents in a year or two can be a big part too. But they have the resources. Now it's just kind of making the right decisions along the way. But oh yeah, Kellen and this staff and everything, it is full support, full on. You know, like you got time, make it happen.
Like they aren't gonna press eject now. Like that's the question I get more than any other. Is the seat hot? I don't think the seat's hot because I don't think anyone can afford for the seat to be hot. So the match would have to come above and then burn down, from the second floor to the first floor, I think.
I think Kellen's seat is ice cold. And I think it probably should be right now.
As opposed from going from, the second floor set. Like I don't think that's something that happens in the front office. I think they're invested in him working. Yeah. I think he gets another year. I think he badly needs to figure it out. And all the players stuff cannot work, but like if he doesn't have it figured out for next season, it's tough. Like you're in kind of a hopeless situation. There's a lot to be desired there right now. And I spent my whole life Belichick, Sean Payton, and look, the DA thing wasn't that bad until year 3. This is the worst I think it's ever felt. Like I don't know. It just looks different. It feels different. And I think it has since training camp. And like, I think they got a lot to figure out too. And
I think the only thing you can hang your hat on with that is that Kellen went through the exact same problems in Philadelphia. I mean, to a T. Not scoring in the first quarter, not starting fast. I'm like, again, ladies and gentlemen, go watch that video if you have not. It will blow your mind. It is word for word. The problems he's having now are the problems he had the first 5 games in Philly. Full on, like, he's doing press conferences saying, we got to start faster. That's on me. Word for word, what's happening here? Can't score in the first quarter. Worst in 50 years. Like, all that. And then, boom. Fixed. Wins the Super Bowl. Offense is unbelievable. Same cast of characters, same players, same everything. That gives me reason to believe that he just kind of is a slow starter with this stuff, but he has the ability to adjust and evolve and tinker and then eventually figure it out. As a head coach, it's a little different. And with a rebuilding roster versus all pros at every position in Philly, think about that. Think about how good that roster is. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, the best offensive line in football, Dallas Goedert, and you can't score in the first quarter. You can't score in the red zone. Can't put points on the board. Worst in 50 years. So then what happens if you have the worst offensive line in football? You have Devin Neal as your running back. You have Devon Vele as your leading receiver. You have a second-round rookie in Tyler Shough. You have a 5th-round, second-year quarterback in Spencer Rattler. So the Philly stuff gives me reason to believe that Kellen can figure it out. But I do agree. I mean, he obviously has to. Yeah,
maybe they do down the stretch. Maybe they go into the offseason and they figure some stuff out. But I think there's a lot of stuff for them to figure out. I was a little bit, my last thing, I was a little bit disappointed by like the run defense. I thought that was turning a corner a little bit. And then today kind of just felt like went flat big time.
A-Chain's also kind of insane. Like A-Chain might be the most underrated running back in the NFL.
There's a reason we had that gentleman in like 90% of our mock drafts. So
every mock draft, please. This is on the site. Go. We should give anybody who wants a free membership just so you can see that me and Nick said A-Chan in every mock
it was
draft.
like our default pick. Like, just take him. Like, that's the guy.
Yeah, we only had to make every other pick. The only one was, did we take him in the second or the third round? Like, that's the only thing that varied, I think.
he was unbelievable today. He looked awesome.
Insane.
Like, he looked like Barry Sanders. Like, just the way he was setting up some of that stuff.
He's
really good. Really good.
I will say 3 positive things. And this one positive for Kellen Moore is I was surprised by how much fight the team had left in them in the second half of this game.
Me too.
After the first half was so dreary. So that's a positive. And that, that has been a positive on his ledger all year. And I'm about to go right about Devon Vele and Charlie Smith. I mean, both of those were really cool to see. I'm sure you're going to get to them in the hard high player of the game and the 3-up 3-down segments. But that was 2 cool things to watch today with those 2 guys.
Yeah, 2 other notes. 1, the Saints are officially eliminated from playoff contention. 2, they are now in possession of the number 2 pick in the draft because the Jets won their game against the Falcons. Titans are at number 1. The Saints and Titans still play each other. They play the Jets too. Like, there's still a chance that this thing could end up with the number 1 pick.
Yeah. But also, if the Titans had the first overall pick, the second overall pick, if you want a quarterback, is the same thing. It depends. I mean, obviously, if you want Arvell Reese or something, and then you don't want to be behind Tennessee because they could certainly take him. But Tennessee's not taking a quarterback.
Like, there's a path. There's a real actual path.
And Tyler Shough, we said earlier, if you want to beat 2 teams, you should beat the Titans and the Jets and really help your own case. So, competing interests there, I guess.
Or have a game-winning effort and someone just drops the ball in the end zone, but don't have the interceptions and the down moments to go with it, and it'll still feel the same way. But you can't have those down moments and not hit that. But some stuff to dig into of all the coverage on New Orleans football. We'll hit a quick break and we'll be back with the play of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you there with the Tyler Shough. Like, if Olave catches that, then we're good to go. But also, it's like, well, he had 3 turnovers, and one of them was for a pick 2 that ended up being the difference maker in the game. So, I get it, but Shough isn't. This isn't one of those games where Shough went 30 for 31 with 3 touchdowns and they lost because of the team. It's like, well, Shough certainly contributed to why this game went the way it did. Olave's got to catch that, but All right, ladies and gentlemen, good video. Went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.